of our viewers. Certainly, we're excited to provide to you our first diversity and inclusion live stream webinar. As we come together today, we hope that our gathering will be informal or will be informative and as well impactful to each of you that are joining us by way of Facebook and as well through our webinar. We're looking forward to sharing COVID-19 Solution Consortium series with you, and we're hopeful that you'll join us every Tuesday at 11 a.m. and Thursday each week for the next several weeks for information and as well for strategies that I believe and we believe within the Diversity Inclusion Office that will be helpful to you and as well will give you some information to be able to navigate COVID-19. Let me welcome as well our Inclusion Program Manager, Antonius Northern. Antonius, we're certainly excited to have you to be a part of this very first webinar, and as well, we're looking forward to the information that you'll be sharing with us on today.
Thank you. Thank you.
And then as well, our Contract Compliance Administrator, Larry King. Larry has a certainly workforce development background. He's worked with a number of businesses in our community. We're looking forward to his expertise and his information that he'll share with us as well. Larry, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Michael. Glad to be here.
Yeah, all of us are new. This is our team here that you are viewing on today, and I believe that we have a dynamic team that has certainly experiences that lends itself to the business community. I'm looking forward to our team really impacting our community and our region with outreach and with advocacy to assisting entrepreneurs and as well assisting business owners in this community where they're being groomed and developed, and certainly we're creating opportunities for procurement at the City of South Bend and other opportunities for entrepreneurs in this community as well. As I look at the mission statement of the Diversity Inclusion Office, it simply says this: we deliver inclusive policy infrastructure and public-private program partnerships that expand access to talent pools, enforce fair and equitable employment, housing, public accommodations, education practices, and assist in fostering vibrant and inclusive city economies. So it's important, Larry and Antonius, as we talk about the Office of Diversity and Inclusion, that people understand that it is our plight and our vision to be able to create a fair and equitable process for all residents in our community, certainly to be able to navigate and as well to participate in the procurement process here at the city. And we look forward to creating opportunities where we can train and develop potential entrepreneurs, but as well entrepreneurs that are currently have businesses in our community where they can flourish and as well create opportunities for them. And so as we look at those kind of things, certainly Antonius and Larry, I want to give you an opportunity now to share with our audience your thoughts.
Yeah.
Antonius?
Yeah. So one of the key things that I think is important in this community is showing integrity and being able to be an advocate. And one of the things that I've done in this community, I think since returning home from college, is working in communities where opportunity doesn't always live, and making sure that the infrastructure and the ideas kind of match up, right? Sure. And so I've done that in the education space through helping organizations like Science in the Summer, the YMCA with their Innovation Delta.
Sure.
But I've also taken that kind of broader and more well-known aspect of education and applied it to just some regular small business folks.
Okay.
I've been able to pull together, with the assistance of some of my fellow community members, the Think Black Buy Black business market, where I was opening up an unused retail location just to give small business owners the opportunity to bring their products to market inside of the Lincoln Way corridor,
Sure.
right where the heart of that community lives, because I think that community interdependence is so important to the strength and stability of neighborhoods, and those we know are the core of what a city is made of.
Sure.
But then after that, I was afforded the opportunity to join the community investment team with the engagement and economic empowerment team, and there I was also able to start to work with minority contractors, and I'm very, very proud to say that I was bringing together a group of about 6 minority contractors to bring resources and solutions to home repair issues to some of the most vulnerable communities in our city. And I think that now that I'm on the diversity and inclusion team as a program manager for women and minority businesses, I have every intention on taking all of those experiences and bringing them to bear on larger projects and helping our city to see that there's talent in places that you didn't know.
Sure.
I think of all of the years that like the greatness of our communities has gone untapped, and I'm like, it's time, right? It's time for each and every community in the city to kind of come into the sunshine and allow for community members to serve through business.
Yes.
I think that that's the key to opening up the economy. I think that we're missing out on a lot of things because of that, and the more that we can create more inclusive pathways through procurement and also helping local businesses to do private partnerships that increase their capacity. Man, the world is our oyster. This community is full of talent, and it's time to make sure that people know what they see.
Yeah, thank you so much. It is so important not only to create opportunities for all residents, but most particularly when we talk about MWBEs, Minority Women Business Enterprises, certainly is a focus of ours, and so we thank you for your opening statement. Larry.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, Michael, my background comes from Division of Workforce Development, where I've worked with employers for the last 12 years, organizing job fairs and pulling people together in the community in jobs and development, things of that nature. So I'm here to join the team as Division of Diversity and Inclusion, so I can bring a wealth of experience with my background in the business community. I feel like working with minority business ownerships and businesses in the future, I think we can help this community and the city grow where we need inclusion within our city. So as the contract compliance administrator, I'm excited to join the team, and work with businesses and get them up to speed. So that's just a little bit about my background. I'm excited to be part of the team.
We're happy to have you on the team too.
Yeah, for sure. And so, so important for us to be able to have the experiences that we have had. Myself working for Work One for a number of years, and working with the underserved community, and working in the nonprofit world for a number of years, and leading different organizations as well, and addressing business practices and creating events and opportunities.
This is Sue. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I apologize. I muted that one mic, and now I can't unmute it, so we can't hear him. You
Okay.
have to unmute the mic on the main camera, right there, the main computer that's looking at all the chairs.
Okay. Here I come. Got it.
All right, we're there now?
Should be back live. Okay, Sue? I think we're good.
Okay,
Yes, sorry about that. I muted it because there was a little bit of feedback, but it's probably best to leave them both on.
Yep.
all right, so yeah, so my background, certainly, as we talk about the business community, and we talk about as well providing opportunities and developing the business community, those are the things that I've done through other organizations like the Urban League of South Bend, working as well now as a president of the NAACP, and then as well leading other organizations and consulting firms where I have had an opportunity to be able to work with different businesses in helping them in regards to inclusion as well as equity within their business organization. And so I'm excited about being a part of this team and leading this team and leading this department as well, and as well providing impactful information and opportunities to the businesses in our community, most especially MWBEs. So with that being said, there are a few things that we certainly are going to be intentional about and looking at. And as we look at creating this consortium series to help businesses in our community, small businesses in our community to navigate COVID-19, our plan is to begin to provide information to them by way of webinars. And so as we look at some of the topics we'll discuss today, certainly as we talk about strategic planning, I think we all understand the importance of being strategic, most especially in this moment.
Yes.
Every business, no matter how well you've been doing, has been affected by COVID-19.
Yes.
We're in a pandemic crisis. Across the country, most places have restrictive measures in place, stay-at-home measures. Businesses have had to adjust on a dime to make the changes that were needed to be able to continue doing business or not doing business, because some businesses shut their doors and other businesses have remained open. I think about restaurants who were not doing carry-out business. Some of them are now doing carry-out business to keep business going, but you can't dine in, which is what their specialty has been. So, it's apparent that every business has experienced some sort of crisis. How important is certainly strategic planning in your opinion, Larry?
Well, right now, moving forward, like you said, COVID-19 has definitely impacted our community. So we have to engage with our business as the contract compliance administrators to find out what is your procurement, what is your plan in the next 5 years? Where do you see your business growing in the next 5 years? What are some immediate solutions that we can do to make sure your business thrives? So there's loans out there that are available for business. Okay, so there's small impact loans that are available to get your business back up and growing. How do you train your staff? How do we move forward with safety precautions and things of that measure? So we have to plan now and stay in community and contact with our community business leaders to make sure that they stay on the right path, and so that we move forward and then our economy continues to grow as this COVID-19 winds up.
So in order for a business to be successful during this crisis, they have to do some strategic planning. It will make or break you. In fact, there is a spiritual adage that I certainly quote quite a bit, and it says, it talks about if you're not a planner, you'll fail. And so planning in this moment is imperative and important. Antonius?
I think that that can't be more true in this moment. When you think not only of the business aspects of COVID, but also the human side of COVID. As we know, many minority communities, both black and brown, are some of the hardest hit communities in this nation. And it begs the question, why, right? What is available to other communities that's not available to the minority communities, right? We're not naturally the community that is more communicable. You're not more susceptible to this. It's that you have these underlying health issues, right? That are kind of pervasive throughout the community, and because of that, when you're dealing with heart disease, diabetes, hypertension, and these things are starting to, when you have a new disease that arrives, it starts to compound the issues. And what that says to me is that as the program manager for the Minority and Women Business Enterprise Program, I have to figure out ways to help businesses be stronger because it helps the people be stronger. And so I've been trying to figure out ways to insert minority businesses into different opportunities and also considering what type of private partnerships can actually be available to also serve this community as a whole.
Sure.
Because you know, it's interesting that like we all are pulling together. Right now, at this moment, we have never been more unified as a community because
Yes.
we're facing a common threat. This happens classically, right?
Sure.
But we have to figure out how we leverage that relationship to also create some economic gains, because that is also what happens inside of crises like this, right?
Right.
And it's important to understand the economic trends. So as a program manager, it's my intention to look at those trends and say, okay, I need to make sure that I'm slotting minority business into these opportunities because these moments don't happen very often. And I have to make sure that this community is stronger next time so that they're able to deal with this crisis and that there's not Black and brown community members who are the hardest hit in the next go around whenever we're facing some type of dilemma.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that you have to be strategic and you have to be aware both of the history and also have a sense of what's going to be happening in the future.
Yeah, that's I think helpful to know and to understand. Especially, I think it's important for us, especially as we're talking to our Facebook community and those who have joined us by webinar, to understand that there are always inequities in the vulnerable community, and crisis always brings out those inequities that the vulnerable community experiences, and it makes it knowledgeable to us all, whereby I think it's important for us, especially our city, and I believe Mayor James Mueller certainly can see some things that are happening through COVID that's going to help us as a city to begin to build in some innovative opportunities that will be helpful and as well strengthening to the business community, but most especially the MWBE community, so that to a point that you're making, that on the next go around, because we know crisis will strike again. We've had, come on, crisis after crisis after crisis over the years.
West Nile.
So,
yeah.
you know, COVID-19 is not the last crisis we're going to experience, right? And so we have to as well do justice now in helping to strengthen, which is why we've created these webinars to address the things that we're talking about, the concerns, the challenges that businesses are facing right now.
I think one of the things that when you make mention of the efforts of Mayor James Mueller, that we can start to see where there's city action happening is that many community members were depending on that paycheck protection plan, program. And it turned out that the way in which that first round of funding kind of went out wasn't necessarily accessible to a lot of the minority community members and business owners. And in turn, that meant that infrastructure, the strength of the community was not receiving the aid that it needed. And so that's when our finance team and the mayor's office and a host of other departments in the city of South Bend came together and said, we're going to pull together about $600,000 and we're going to start to make sure that there are loans and lending that is actively happening here inside of our community, because this is what's going to be catalytic. And that's super important to understand the distinction between it, right? This isn't a charitable thing, right? This is catalytic. This is the type of thing that increases your tax revenue. This is the type of thing that makes your community, this is what increases home sales, that increase even more tax revenue, right? And so it's a catalytic infusion of $600,000. It's not a charitable distribution of money. And so if they have the insight to say that we need to make sure that we are targeting and routing funds to make sure this business community is stronger, it's on us to make sure that those funds connect with small business owners. So we have been present at the roundtables for our EAF funding program, and we want to make sure that the business owners of our community are aware of these. And in addition to that, there's even other dollars that are also available that we're going to be trying to create or at least do matchmaking, even though we can't be as close as we'd like to be, because you know we love you.
Yeah.
Right? You know we love y'all, and we'd love to have you guys here,
Yeah.
or I should say before us, working on projects. But yeah, we're trying to figure out ways to have video conferences
Yes.
between lenders. There's a number of CDFIs that are starting to get active in our area, and we want to make sure that we're building that connection. And we're also doing case studies because we want to know where the gaps are,
Yeah.
right? We want to know how to make sure that we do this better, because although I've been here for a while and I'm under the tutelage of two guys who've been here much longer than I have, no shade. No shade.
I wonder where you're going.
Yeah. But yeah, because I'm under the tutelage of two men that are older than me. I know that I will miss things, and I know that you guys still might miss things. And so we need community members, and we need to watch and see what's going on. So if you guys have gotten a copy of that flyer, Mike's email address is on there. If you haven't made contact with me, I will make sure to leave my email contact inside of there, and also Larry's contact information, because we know that these are very personal experiences. We know that you don't always open up and share the stress points of what's happening as you seek funding to keep your business going and keep this community strong. So whomever it is that you connect with, best, please share that information about what's going on with your business. If you're not finding funding, if you think that you're missing some piece of documentation, call us. We know how to work within the city constructs. That's what we signed up for. So even if we don't know, we get paid to find out.
Yes. So that's a good place to transition and talk about stimulus dollars, loans, and local funding resource options. The president and his cabinet have approved some couple of weeks ago the $2 trillion stimulus package, which most of people around the country have been able to experience that, and whether that's through the IRS and the $1,200 or $2,400 checks that you have received, or through the business side of it, whereby businesses have received funding to support them through COVID-19. I was just on the internet on yesterday looking at some things that recently happened in regards to the as well, the government creating $480 billion or $450 billion on a second round of stimulus for the business community. My hope is that MWBEs and other businesses now will be able to as well retrieve some of those dollars who didn't and wasn't able to receive some of those dollars in the first go around, so that it's going to help those businesses to maintain themselves or sustain themselves in this period of crisis. So as we talk about that, certainly you all are aware of the stimulus dollars, how important are those opportunities. You're aware of the business loans, and we certainly have financial institutions and credit unions in our own community. And then as well, I'm one, because I come out of the banking community, to utilize even internet banking, because competition is competition, and sometimes you've got to find the best rates for yourself, and it's not always in your local community, but certainly I'm not steering people out of our community. What I am doing is saying that we have options, and I think we have to always look at our options because of where we are. I'm just using myself as a for instance, as a business where I'm at, and it may be that I need to get the much lower rate, and it's on the internet, than utilizing the rate in my community. I want to be a blessing to my community and pour dollars into my community, but I'm in a crisis mode right now.
So it's like, I got to get what I get. I think that it is critical for our community members to understand that this is a competitive space, that business is still occurring despite crisis, and that you have to approach this with a keen mind, and you have to kind of if you don't yet, or if you've never had a lending experience, now's the time to talk to some of your fellow members of the business community and ask, hey, did you go talk to your lender? Did they help you out with your PPP application? how was your experience? Because I also want to know. I mean, it's important that you have a network of people to consider things amongst, because one, you need to have a second set of ears and eyes to bounce things off of, right? You don't do
Yes.
business in a silo or a vacuum. You do it amongst a community of businesses.
Yes.
So it is important that you be getting kind of that
Sure.
same rate, because that's going to allow for you to keep the folks employed that depend on you for their work, and make sure, and their children depend on them for their bread. So yeah, that's super important that you connect with them. But you have to know that, like, if someone's offering you lending at 13%, that there might be a rate that's lower than 8%.
Sure.
Right? You might even be able to get down to 3%. And these things matter in the repayment period and ultimately determine how you will be able to run your business.
Sure.
Yes.
And if you're not kind of connected, you can definitely connect to us.
Sure.
And we'll do our best to make sure that you're connected to other business
Yes.
members, and we'll also make sure that you get the opportunity to talk to more than one lender.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's important.
Yeah.
And then to add on that the money that the government had, the $350 billion, we need to make sure that those funds come out to our local business communities, the minority women businesses and the minority businesses. That being said, we had the EAC, Emergency Assistance Fair, last week, where the city partnered with a couple of banking institutions as well. So trying to make sure that our city and our businesses take advantage of those funds. So we need to collaborate and work along together with the businesses to make sure they are getting their just due, right? So you got your mom and pop stores and corners, we got a lot of minority businesses here, but in order for them to stay open and running and being positive in the community, we need to make sure we work with those businesses to make sure they get what they need.
Sure.
If that's help with the contract, if that's help getting legal, getting everything, their licensing done and everything of that nature, we want to make sure they get the training that's available so they can get caught up to speed and get back into the business capacity.
Yeah. And as you say that, Larry, I think it's important for us to help our city to see as to why there is justification for an office like diversity and inclusion. As you make mention of making sure that our business community is provided those kind of opportunities. That's what our office certainly will make sure of.
Right.
Making sure that we have our hand on the pulse of what's happening there.
Yes.
And then making sure that we're able to fairly distribute opportunities to all residents, most especially MWBEs.
Yes.
We have our eye on those type of businesses because we know that the disparity generally lies there. And so it's important for us to make sure all residents have an opportunity to have lending opportunities and information as to how to engage in that way,
correct.
but most especially for MWBEs, giving them direction, giving them information, and making connections for them so that they as well have those same opportunities afforded to them so that they can stay afloat.
Yeah.
So it's important as we talk about that topic, stimulus dollars, loans, local funding, and resource options, that we provide that information by way of live stream webinars. As well, we certainly, as we recognize we're in a crisis time, we're going to talk about tackling fear and anxiety among corona.
Yes.
Now, that's no secret.
Yeah.
There's some business owners who are operating out of fear right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just natural. Crisis brings on, in times like this, fear and anxiety. And so we're here to help them address that. And we're going to be inviting some individuals on to that show that certainly have a therapeutic background, that will be able to speak to that audience, speak to the characteristic of fear, and as well anxiety. And we feel like it's important for us to be at the forefront of that because we know that that's happening right now.
We know that there are human beings doing business,
Yeah.
right? And that's, sometimes business owners forget that they're human.
Yes.
Sure.
And they think, rain, sleet, snow, they think they're the mailman of whatever business that they do, right?
Sure.
Like, folks wanted their hair done,
Yeah.
so I need to be here. But self-care is important. and there is a spiritual component to all of us, right? And I need for you to be able to be in the appropriate spirit to be able to deliver resources, be that in the healthcare industry, be that in the hair care industry, home care industry. There are so many different ways in which business impacts real people.
Yes.
And so we want to make sure that you are connected to groups of business owners so that you understand that everybody goes through this.
Yeah.
And that everybody takes time for themselves.
Yeah.
Right? That's the thing that I think everybody says who's in business or goes into business says, okay, now I've signed up to be kind of the buck stops here.
Sure.
But the buck can't, I mean, and the momentum can stop for a moment. If
Sure.
this crisis hasn't taught you anything yet, it's just that when health is important, I mean, when health is at the forefront of the conversation, everything has to be put on.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's 330 million people in this country right now who are on hold.
Right.
So if you should need a break or some reprieve from business, it's time to take it.
Yeah.
Right? And at the same time, we want to make sure that you understand what safeguards are there. Because also, you know, when you operate out of fear, there's not a lot of understanding about what's happening.
Sure.
Right? You don't know what the masks are for. You don't know what the barrier methods are for. You don't know why you have to check temperatures. You actually might even think that you're exacerbating the situation
Yeah.
by
Sure.
doing some of the
Sure.
things. And so you need to build a relationship both within the business community so that you understand what best practices are, and then you also need that external relationship just with yourself
Yeah.
to say, hey, you know, if I am tired and bushed and not feeling too good about business today, what's going on with my employees,
Yes.
right? This is going to be the time where businesses can lose opportunity money, opportunity dollars.
Yes.
Because you can lose the asset that is probably most important to you, probably even more important than the product you sell, and that's the person that works with you.
Sure.
And if you lose somebody that's been on your team for 3 years, it's going to take you a year and a half, if not longer, just to get somebody up to the level of productivity
Yes.
that 3-year employee has been. So that means that you have to start here with yourself and then transfer that self-care mindset onto you and to your staff.
To your staff.
Yeah.
Well said. Well
So
said.
important as we take note of those kind of things that, you know, we certainly address the mental aspect of it all and taking a reprieve. You know, God is funny. We never thought, I'm sure you all would agree with
Right.
this, that our world could come to a screeching halt.
Yeah.
And as well maintain itself and function the way that we are right now. You know, you, Larry, you and Tony, as myself, we've been running 100 miles, figuratively,
Yes.
running 100 miles a minute.
Yeah, my mind's on about 8
we,
minutes. It's 8 minutes.
we tease Antonio all the time. He's a little faster than us. But it's important for us to recognize that our world was on a fast track,
Yeah.
and now it's been brought to a screeching halt in a sense. All of a sudden,
Yeah.
with no warning. Come on.
Yeah.
No real warning. You know, there was no real plan literally on the ground
Yeah.
that we were saying, okay, we're planning for COVID to come and we need to do this, this, and this.
Around Christmas, we thought everybody that was to the east of us was crazy. Like, what do you mean they're in the house?
Sure.
That would never happen here, not in South Bend.
Yeah, but here we are, and we have come to a screeching halt. And now what was normal for us is no longer normal. We have what we call new norms, and we've got to operate out of them in this current atmosphere called, you know, coronavirus,
Yes.
or the COVID-19 pandemic. And so it's important, Larry, as we look at, you know, those kind of things, certainly you've got a thought on it.
Yes. You know, before this COVID-19 hit, our economy was booming, right? 3% unemployment rate. Everybody's doing well. Your family's growing. The kids are doing well, and everything. So it just hit us at a standstill, like you said. Boom, everything changes, right? So how do we best get our startup and get our businesses back to growing? From now, this is the time to reflect with your
Sure.
business. How do we go from here? look at your team, look at your employers. Is it necessary to have 4 or 5 different staff doing these minimal jobs?
Sure.
How do I turn this around and be more productive as a team moving forward? So the economy did take a hit, right? So we just got to look at ways and plan on how to move forward. I was addressing it, how we do the webinars now. We do Team Microsoft. So this just changes our perception, and I think it's going to continue. You know why? I'm thinking this is going to continue to be the norm.
Yeah.
The social distancing matters is 6 foot apart, but I think moving forward, you're going to see a lot of businesses just continue this route that we're doing now.
Yeah. So as you say that, yeah.
I think that's I think another part of our platform from diversity and inclusion is that we are better stewards of both the time and also the money that we expend.
Yes.
And you were of course referring to like payroll dollars that you expend.
Yes.
But I'm also thinking about we as a city. We recently passed an ordinance in November for minority and women business enterprises, and that ordinance in itself kind of it says to a lot of folks, race conscious programming.
Sure.
But there's another part of it that's race neutral, and it's all about small, local, emerging business enterprises.
That's right.
And so we are now in that key position where we need to start to look at, okay, when we expend dollars out as a city, or even, when we're working with private enterprise, the relationships that happen there. But when we're expending out dollars as a city, what can we do to make sure that when we spend out dollars, they stay inside of the community, because there's not as much cushion, there's not as much margin for kind of just being hyper selective. I think now inside of this space we have a lot of critical choices to be made, and I think that as we start to roll out the program where we can look at city contracts and we can look at city projects and we can say, hey, we've got businesses here that may not be able to do 100% of this project, but they can do 20% of this project.
Sure.
Okay, we're going to talk to that city team and we're going to say, hey, we'd like to break apart this contract and figure out how we can unbundle this project and give a South Bend business the opportunity to do that project. Because it's that important to how we sustain this city and how this city grows in strength. And so, it is definitely a crisis, and it's definitely one of those times where we start to reevaluate how we do business.
Yeah, which is why we want to talk about as well to the business community about entrepreneurship empowerment to navigate the COVID pandemic. And so important to certainly provide information and tools to our business community that will assist them and support them and help them through this crisis and make suggestions. Can't tell anybody what to do, but certainly I think it's important for our office and the experience that is connected to our office now to be able to share, tactics and innovative ways to be able for businesses to engage them in this crisis moment. And so, Larry, are there some empowerment tools that you can think of that could be helpful to our business community at this time?
Well, we can put together, webinars and engage our businesses in productive team leadership activities, job development activities.
That's right.
Moving forward, how do we train individuals to best utilize the value of their daily structure of their time? Because we want to minimize any wasted value time, right? So we want to make sure the employers are connected where we can bring together resources, outside entities to make sure that they get the best that they need moving forward.
Yeah.
So I think just workshops, tools of that nature, to best get them prepared for the next level.
Yeah. And as you say that, Larry, you say it from the voice of experience, because what I know about you is that you were working with Work One when we were caught up in the last crisis called economic downturn, and our unemployment shot up to about 18, 20, and it was at a time where our president was taking office,
Yeah,
he flew in the Elkhart
yeah,
to make the announcement about the stimulus dollars that he was creating for our society to help us to rejuvenate ourselves and reset ourselves. And so you're talking
Personal
about actual personal experience
so let me expound on
with
that.
with crisis.
Yeah.
And so
When you mentioned that the president came to Elkhart, as the RV industry grows, we grow.
yeah,
So it's a big part of our nation, especially the Midwest. And so when these companies were struggling with employment and the manufacturing was going down, we came together as DWD to offer some kind of training and dollars to get these people back up to speed. So that was a big component of resources of getting employers back to speed and getting our economy going. So DWD played a big role in that. And then we actually rebounded and we came back around. So our economy goes up and down, right?
sure,
4, 5, 6, 7 years, you're going to face a hit.
yeah,
I don't think there's nothing as drastic as COVID-19 though. It's not.
right,
But we are going to rebound, you know what I mean? And our
Yeah.
economy is going to grow and come
Yeah.
back again.
yeah, and that's
But
good.
that being, it's a business and developer. So working with employers that were tension, they were stressed out, how we're going to get our business back to going. So we pulled on funding from the state and the government
Mhm.
fundings. And, they
Yeah.
wanted to get the economy back to going too as well. So I think as that grew, Elkhart County,
Yes,
it just expounded on the whole nation, especially Region 2.
sure,
So we were able to grow, get our business back to growing. So
Yeah.
it was a lot of work as a business consultant,
yeah,
meeting with those employers, giving them positive feedback,
Sure.
encouragement. This is what we need to do. We need to plan and execute a plan to get back into
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
business development.
yeah. Antonius, how about you? Can
I-
you give us a tool that
Yeah.
you think would be important?
Yeah. Actually, City of South Bend is launching a brand new procurement software tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
May 1st, right? And the thing that we'd like to see you guys doing is hopping onto the city website and going ahead and registering your business with the City of South Bend.
Yeah.
The other thing that, in the entrepreneurial spirit or just in the changing of the operations of your present business is to make sure that either A, you have your NACE code,
Yeah.
which is the industry specific code. You can look that right up on
Sure.
Google. Based upon whatever activities that you perform or whatever service that you provide, and it'll give you your NACE code. But also making sure that you look at the other NACE codes. Look at some of the other things that you do and make sure that as you register your business, you're adding in all of the facets of your business so that when it comes time for us to connect with you,
That's right.
or we're looking for the types of businesses that we have within our vendor database,
That's right.
we know who you are and we know how to make that connection. I know. We're all from South Bend. You know my mama, you know my dad. wait. I know.
It's not that easy. Yeah, it's not that simple. We want you to be professional and do it the right way.
It's cool. It's cool.
Over there on Haney Street.
Right. Like it's fine, totally fine that you know me as Lil Tony and that's and all of those things. And I'm gonna be looking. I do not come to this role forgetting all of the things that I did in the
We
past.
know where
Right?
we come
Like,
from, yeah.
I remember you.
Yeah.
I still remember you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm not the entire city government. And this registry for the City of South Bend allows for other departments to see what type of businesses that exist inside of this
That's right.
area. And as we're doing that small, or hopefully, we get hashtag
Sure.
Hire South Bend. That would be cool, right?
Yeah.
Just putting that out there.
Yeah. I like that. Hashtag.
Hopefully, Mary Mir hold that too, right? But yeah. The more that you get your information shared within the city network, the greater the opportunity is for me to be able to come into an office and say, hey, you know that these businesses exist. And you know that, we just got done with COVID, or you know that our intention here with this administration is to be more inclusive to minority and women business enterprises. So let's make that happen.
Yeah.
And you help me to make the case when I walk in the door.
Yeah.
That's
So I think that when it comes to entrepreneurship in a short and clean sentence,
Sure.
Antonius' job be a little bit easier,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
get registered on the city website. Again, that portal will be open to register your business tomorrow morning.
Yes.
I'll make sure to share that on my social media. I'll make sure to share that through our email listserv. As a matter of fact, while we're kind of addressing the folks that are there, make sure that before you leave this conversation today, I don't care if it's on Facebook or if it's on Microsoft Teams, drop an email address in there. That also is going to help us to build our communication
Yes.
network. I know that a lot of you guys have been watching on the Teams app because you got a link from Facebook, or maybe you're watching on Facebook and you don't yet have the Microsoft Teams app. That's okay. I can use all of the things that are available to me in
Sure,
order
yes.
to connect with you. And that is my intention. I do not plan to change my codes, right?
Right.
I plan to be the same Antonius I always have been. And so, yeah, allow
Share
me to
contact
serve,
information.
connect with us,
Yeah.
and utilize us because we want to make sure that you guys are contributing. You guys are funding
Yes.
this city government. It is important that you get the most benefit out of it that you can.
Exactly.
Yeah, and thank you for that information. Certainly the tidbit is taken well that in the crisis, certainly there's some reactive responses to it. But the hope is to become proactive as we navigate our way out and to connect to our new DFO system whereby business owners can go ahead and plug their information in on our website to make sure that we have their data and we have a way to reach them and a way to continue to help them in whatever way that means. And so thank you for helping us to become proactive in that regard
Mhm.
as we move forward.
And also to the business owner or owners that think that I don't do a job big enough for the city yet, right? Or I usually only subcontract.
Mhm.
I need you to get registered too. Larry, myself, and Michael will be actively looking into the business community to see the utilization of minority businesses.
Yes.
right.
And so we need to know that you're there. We need to know what you do, and we will be pushing prime contractors to build more relationships with you.
Yes.
We will make it a benefit to them to connect to you.
Yes.
So the more that we know that you
That's right.
exist, and the more that we can prove that out, the more often you will see it. And bid.
That's right.
Right?
Most
When-
important,
When
bid,
folks
yeah.
ask you for a quote, you make sure you
your
get them
bid
a
in.
quote. If you having a problem with getting that quote put together, call us.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Email us. We are here for those types of those services. And when we become when it becomes too much for this office, we have a host of external partners who can also help you to bid.
Yeah.
We have business owners who want nothing more, right? We have people
Sure.
who've been in the business community and who are
Mhm.
now out. We've got the James Summerses of the West Side
Yeah.
Small Business Resource Center. We've got
Mhm.
Hardy Blake, who's also on the line. You guys can always connect with him.
Yeah.
These guys made it their business model to make sure that small business is stronger.
Yeah.
We've got women business enterprise organizations like Spark out at St. Mary's
Mhm.
that not only was working all the way out in St. Mary's, right? They then brought a program and seeded it right there on Portage Avenue to make sure that it's making connections and creating some benefits for the neighborhoods right within the neighborhood.
Yeah.
There's a boot camp that Notre Dame is doing to help
That's right.
entrepreneurs.
That's right.
So again, get connected.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And let us know where those gaps are. Don't think because it's a gap that means that it means stop.
Yeah.
It means go to us in a big way.
That's
Right.
right. That's right. And so another topic that's certainly near and dear to my heart as a veteran of the United States Air Force. I spent 6.5 years serving my country and protecting my country.
Mhm.
And now that we are into a crisis, there are certainly friends of mine, partners of mine, whether I know them or I
Yes.
don't know them.
Mhm.
The military family is a family, no matter what the scenario. And so we certainly recognize that there are veteran businesses in our community that need assistance. And so we want to talk to them about tools to assist veteran businesses in the pandemic.
Mhm.
And so it's going to be important for us to bring in certainly individuals that can discuss some tools and discuss some information with our business veteran community,
Yes.
so that they're able to, as well efficiently and as well as smoothly as possible, navigate this pandemic. Larry?
Well, again, our veteran community is special. I mean, we need to make sure we keep our veterans included on jobs and training and everything during this pandemic. They play a big part in my life as well. I had family members that are in the Army and in the Air Force. So we need to include our veteran population. And that comes with me as a contract compliance administrator reaching out to the veteran community business owners.
Sure.
And say, hey, how can I best support you?
Right.
The transportation unit, whatever department that you're in. Let me come and help you with your contract and how that we can get these contracts with the city of South
Sure.
Bend. Because there's transportation and there's other businesses that veterans own.
Sure.
So we need to make sure, because hey, they provided for us, the veterans from the war,
That's right.
and then we need to respect our veteran population
Sure.
and keep them included. So whatever that needs to be done with me, I would personally take that challenge.
Yeah.
If the veterans call me, I will sit down, take the call, we can go over the contracts one-on-one.
Right.
I wanna make sure I'm able to serve you,
Yeah.
so that you can get what you need to be successful.
Right. So there are a number of topics that we're going to certainly expound upon. We look at how do women-owned businesses keep calm and carry on. You all have heard
Yes.
that piece there, in crisis. How do minority-owned businesses address unique, steep hurdles amid coronavirus cash crunch? Getting MWB certified with the city of Indianapolis. Another topic, connecting to local funding. Certainly, as Antonius has made mention of, Mayor James Mueller and our city council have certainly now provided $600,000 to be distributed throughout our community, our business community, and we look forward to certainly helping businesses get connected to that opportunity. As well, new emerging businesses during a crisis, and navigating the new normal for Latino businesses. We have a heavy population of Latino businesses, especially on the west side of our community, down the Western Avenue corridor, but as well here on the northwest side of the city. And it's important for us as well to speak to that community and that culture of people as they're as well experiencing a crisis. Staying in bounds as an MWBE. All of us, I believe, around this round table have played some sort of sports, and we understand the importance of staying in bounds. If the ball goes out of bounds, I lose possession. And so it's important for me to maintain possession of the things within my business in order to be successful and to flourish, especially in this crisis. We don't want to play outside of the bounds, which could be critical to us, whether we stay open or we have to close. And so, another topic that we certainly will be sharing with our community. And then reset and rebound is a topic that we'll look at as well. And then, as a civil rights leader, I look at Dr. Martin Luther King as my hero. And certainly I'm sure that Dr. King has spoken into each of your lives in some kind of way. You've read his writings, listened to his speeches, and all of those kind of things. And the one thing that I take away from Dr. King is the thought, where do we go from here? He was in a crisis when he wrote that speech and when he spoke that speech. And we're in a crisis right now. And so it's important for us to ask that question. Where do we go from here? And so there is a place, there is an avenue, there is some direction that can be given in a time of crisis so that we know where we're going from here. And then as well, we'll talk about getting DBE certified within the NDOT infrastructure. And last but not least, dealing with insurance during COVID, which is so important to be covered as we're walking this out and making sure that you have the appropriate coverages as we're walking through this, but preparing for the next
For the
crisis.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so those are important topics that we're going to be releasing to our city and bringing professionals in to help us to talk about those kind of things and provide not only dialogue but information to our business community, most especially the MWBEs, so that everyone is successful in navigating this pandemic crisis that we're in. Let's hear some closing remarks from Larry and then Antonius, and then we're going to bring this to a close. Larry?
Okay, so what I want to encourage our audience is to join us every week, Tuesday and Thursday. So we're going to invite in a lot more business partners and talk about diversity and inclusion. I think my responsibility here joining the team of South Bend and this one is to make sure I connect with the minority businesses in the community, to make sure we get the necessary contracts that they need to fulfill their business, and just be involved. And that takes the community, like Antonio said, it takes you providing that information. We don't know of all the local small businesses that are available out there. So we want to reach out to that business community to make sure we get you engaged, to get you in contact with us so that we can move forward and get engaged. So I see things, this COVID-19 is going to end pretty soon, I think. Business is going to be booming, our economy is going to pick back up, and the city's our growth and every development is going to grow. So I'm looking forward to the challenge, and I'm excited about the opportunity, and thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, Antonius?
I think the most important thing that I want to share with you guys in closing is stay connected. Stay in communication both with your fellow business owners and also the business, and make sure that you are staying connected to the businesses that you traditionally support and go see.
Yes.
They need you more than ever. We need you more than ever to be supporting them. And then at the same time, diversity and inclusion is here. And the core of our responsibilities is to make connections both with the city and inside the business community as a whole. So in order for us to be best at our jobs, we need to be in communication with you. Reach out, let us know what's going on, help us to prove out need, help us to prove out capacity, and we will do our best to take this entire community and raise it up several more levels, because we have got so much talent in this community, and I can't wait to walk behind and just help you guys to take it to the finish line and the next line.
Yeah.
All right.
And so I ditto certainly what Antonius has shared. It's important for each of you, Facebook and or if you have joined us by way of our streaming live webinar, to stay connected. For the next several weeks, we're going to be sharing some important information and tidbits with you that we believe will be impactful and we believe will provide wisdom to you as you are navigating COVID-19. And so, as Antonius and Larry have made mention, it's going to be important for you to join us on Tuesday mornings at 11 a.m. and Thursdays at 11 a.m. as well. And we're looking forward to our very first session that we're going to have on this coming Tuesday, May the 5th at 11 a.m. And we'll be talking about strategic planning. And we have confirmed that Takesha McLean will be joining us for that first session. We're hopeful that as well we'll have an accounting firm that will join us as our guest on the 5th at 11 a.m. Takesha is a project manager for Illinois State Toll Highway Authority, and she has a background in relation to project management and strategic planning. I believe she's going to come and share some tidbits with us that is going to be impactful and helpful to us, and as well, not only impactful, but give us some information that will certainly give us the ability to move past COVID and to be efficient and to be able to flourish as well. And so we look forward to having Takesha on our show on Tuesday, and then we will make announcements about our next shows thereafter. So with that being said, we hope that each of you that have joined us live have enjoyed our show, but as well that it has been informational for you. This is the Department of Diversity and Inclusion. My guest, Larry King, who is our contract compliance administrator, and as well our inclusion project manager, Antonius Northern, have joined us on this morning to kind of give you an overview of our department's way of addressing COVID-19 and the strategic plan that we have created to be able to reach out to our business community, most especially MWBE's minority women business enterprises, to bring some helpful information to you and as well to make a connection to each of you as we move forward. So thank you so much for joining the show. If you need to reach us, my email address is mpatton@southbendin.gov. My phone number is 574-235-5815. Larry?
Yes, and my email address is lking at southbendin.gov. My personal cell phone number is 574-274-6246.
And Larry? Antonius?
Mine is the hard one, right? It is ANORTHER @southbendin.gov. And feel free to reach out to me by email, and I will gladly do my best to connect you to any resources I can.
Thank you so much, South Bend, for joining us. God blessings to you, and we look forward to seeing you on Tuesday, next Tuesday at 11 a.m.